In ancient Egypt, children grew up along the shimmering Nile River, where warm sunlight touched the fields, palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the golden desert stretched far into the horizon. Life for a child was filled with laughter, learning, responsibilities, and a little bit of magic woven into everyday moments. Most children spent their mornings near the river banks. They splashed in shallow waters, chased tiny fish with woven baskets, and gathered smooth stones warmed by the sun. The air carried the scent of wet mud, lotus flowers, and distant cooking fires drifting from nearby homes. Even simple games felt exciting in this lively world along the Nile. Families lived in mud brick houses that stayed cool during hot days. Children often helped sweep floors, carry water jars, or shoo away wandering goats. Though their chores were important, parents made sure they had plenty of time for fun. Egyptians believed childhood was a gift from the gods. The time meant for joy, curiosity, and growth. Games were a huge part of everyday life. Boys and girls played with wooden dolls, carved animals, spinning tops, and small balls made of leather or papyrus fibers. Groups of children invented chasing games in sandy courtyards or tried balancing on narrow mud brick walls. Some played a board game called Senet, imagining each move as a step through magical gates guarded by spirits. Clothing was simple but comfortable. Most children wore light linen garments or sometimes nothing at all during very hot weather. They ran barefoot over soft sand and cool mud, feeling the textures of their land directly beneath their feet. Bright beads, shells, and colorful bracelets were common accessories, especially during celebrations. Education started early, especially for children of scribes or nobles. Boys hoping to become scribes practiced writing long lines of hieroglyphs on pottery shards or papyrus scraps. They dipped reed brushes into dark ink and carefully copied symbols representing sounds, animals, and ideas. Learning was slow and challenging, but becoming a scribe was one of the most respected paths in Egypt. Girls learned household arts such as weaving, cooking, and music. Many also learned religious songs and dances that were performed during temple festivals. Some girls from priestly families studied rituals and sacred traditions, helping their parents in temples dedicated to gods like Hathor or Isis. Children grew up knowing that learning came in many forms, not just reading and writing. Religion touched every part of a child's life. Families taught children to respect the gods, thank the Nile for its yearly floods, and honor the spirits of ancestors. Amulets shaped like scarabs, eyes, or small animals were tied around children's necks to protect them from illness or bad luck. These tiny charms glowed softly in the sun, reminders that unseen forces watched over them. Children loved festivals. During special events, families gathered near temples decorated with colorful banners and fragrant flowers. Musicians played flutes, drums, and handheld harps while dancers swayed gracefully under bright skies. Children laughed, clapped, and followed parades carrying statues of gods through the streets, feeling the energy of the entire community moving together. Food was delicious and simple. Children enjoyed bread, fruits like figs and dates, and small cakes sweetened with honey. They helped grind grain with stone tools or watched adults bake flat loaves in clay ovens. Sometimes families ate fish grilled fresh from the Nile or vegetables grown in neat rows along the riverbanks. As children grew older, responsibilities increased. Boys helped in fields or workshops, learning farming, carpentry, or pottery from fathers and uncles. Girls assisted with weaving, grinding grain, or preparing meals. But despite the growing workload, communities made sure young people still had moments to rest, explore, and enjoy being children. Friendships were cherished. Groups of children formed tight bonds while swimming, playing, and sharing stories under starlit skies. They carved little boats from wood or reeds and raced them across small canals. At night, they listened to tales of gods like Ra, Osiris, or Bastet while fireflies blinked softly around them. Animals played a huge role in daily life. Many children cared for goats, ducks, cats, or even monkeys kept as pets by wealthier families. Cats were especially treasured because they protected homes from pests and symbolized grace and good fortune. Children often carried kittens in their arms or let them nap in warm baskets beside them. health, and protection were important concerns. Mothers used oils and herbs to treat minor injuries or keep skin cool under the strong sun. Priests offered blessings for sick children, and doctors used remedies made from plants found along the river. The people of Egypt believed the gods guided healing, watching over every child from birth to adulthood. For wealthier families, life looked very different. Children of nobles learned music, poetry, horseback riding, and sometimes even archery. They dressed in fine linen and wore jewelry decorated with gold or turquoise stones. They visited temples, attended feasts, and observed important ceremonies led by high-ranking priests. But no matter their background, all children learned values like kindness, respect, responsibility, and loyalty. Stories passed down through generations taught them about courage, fairness, and the importance of keeping harmony within the family. Every lesson prepared them for the moment they would step into the adult world. Homes were filled with warmth. Children sat with parents during evening meals, listening to adults discuss farming, river levels, or temple rituals. Villages buzzed with friendly conversations, laughter, and the smell of simmering stews drifting from open windows. Life felt rich and full, shaped by the rhythm of the Nile and the traditions of countless ancestors. As the sun set each day, the sky turned from gold to deep violet. Children lay on rooftops or beside doorways, staring at stars sprinkled across the night. They imagined gods traveling through the sky with Ra in his great solar boat. Whispers of stories, songs, and dreams filled the quiet air until sleep finally arrived. Childhood in ancient Egypt was a balance of work, play, learning, and wonder. It was a time when the world felt big and full of stories waiting to be discovered. From the smallest mudbrick village to the grandest city, children shaped the future of Egypt through their laughter, curiosity, and hope. And in every corner of their world, the Nile carried their dreams onward just as it had done for thousands of years. As seasons passed along the Nile, children continued to grow within a world shaped by cycles of flooding, planting, and harvesting. Each year felt like a story with familiar chapters: warm summers, gentle floods, and cool nights filled with laughter drifting across the rooftops. For ancient Egyptian children, the rhythm of the river was as natural as breathing. During flood season, children watched the Nile rise with excitement and awe. Dark water-covered fields, spreading rich silt over the land like a gift from the gods. Boats became the main way to travel between homes and farms, and children often rowed along, dipping their fingers into the cool water as reeds brushed past the sides. The floods reminded everyone that nature and life were deeply connected. When the waters receded, families planted seeds, and children helped in small but important ways. They scattered grains by hand, carried baskets of tools, or chased birds away from newly planted fields. The smell of fresh earth mixed with warm sunlight made the fields feel alive with promise. Even young ones understood that their efforts were part of something much bigger. Learning continued every day, not only in scribal schools or weaving rooms, but in the heart of the community. Children learned through watching adults, copying movements, asking questions, and trying new tasks. Wisdom didn't come from books alone, it came from hands, eyes, and shared experiences passed down through generations. In this way, knowledge flowed from family to family, just like water flowing from the Nile. Scribal students spent long afternoons practicing their hieroglyphs. Their reed pens scratched softly on pottery shards as teachers walked between rows, offering guidance and reminders to stay patient. Some lessons focused on stories of kings, others on bookkeeping, temple inventories, or letters sent between bustling cities. Every symbol written brought the students closer to becoming vital members of society. Girls learning household crafts practiced weaving on wooden looms, their fingers moving quickly as they created patterned cloths. They pounded herbs to make fragrances, stirred pots bubbling with sweet honey cakes, or braided each other's hair in elaborate styles seen at festivals. Older women explained the meaning behind certain designs or songs, ensuring traditions would never be forgotten. These lessons filled everyday moments with creativity and connection. Religious celebrations continued to mark the year with excitement and devotion. Children accompanied parents to temples glowing with torchlight, where statues of gods shimmered in gold and precious stones. Priests chanted beautifully, their voices floating up into the high ceilings like drifting smoke. Children stood in awe, feeling the weight and wonder of ancient traditions that tied them to gods and ancestors. Many families made small pilgrimages to special shrines. Children carried offerings of bread, flowers, or little clay figures they shaped by hand. They whispered wishes or thanks, standing before statues that seemed alive in the soft glow of oil lamps. These rituals taught them gratitude and humility, shaping their hearts as much as their minds. Music was everywhere. Children learned rhythms by tapping sticks on the ground or clapping hands during dances. Flutes made from river reeds produced gentle notes that floated through air warmed by sunlight. Older children learned to play sistrums, rattles that jingled joyfully during ceremonies honoring goddesses like Hathor. Music became another way for children to express themselves and bond with others. Workshops were fascinating places. Carpenters carved beautiful wooden chests or chairs, and children watched chips of wood fall like tiny curls of desert sand. Potters molded clay into jars and bowls, spinning them on wheels that hummed steadily. Metalworkers hammered copper into tools that gleam brightly under torchlight. Each craft showed children the power of skill, patience, and imagination. In the busy markets, children followed parents through crowded streets filled with color, sound, and delicious smells. Merchants called out their goods: fresh fruits, shiny beads, fragrant oils, and soft linens dyed in bright colors. Animals wandered between stalls while musicians played joyful melodies nearby. Children soaked in the lively energy, delighted by the endless variety of sights and sounds. Sports and physical games brought excitement to daily life. Children raced across sandy courtyards, leaping over stones and laughing until their sides hurt. They practiced throwing sticks, balancing on narrow beams, or swimming longer distances in the Nile. These activities kept their bodies strong, preparing them for the physical demands of adult life. Friendships deepened with time. Children explored hidden corners of their villages, discovering new paths between houses or climbing date palms under watchful eyes of adults. They invented stories about mythical creatures living in the desert or imagined themselves as young heroes from ancient tales. These shared adventures created bonds that lasted for years. Animals continued to be constant companions. Children fed ducks that waddled around courtyards, brushed donkeys used for carrying goods, and played with loyal dogs that guarded homes. Cats curled beside them while they worked or slept, purring softly in the warm afternoon light. Caring for animals taught children responsibility and affection. Evenings were magical. After the heat of the day faded, families gathered on flat rooftops to cool off. Children listened to elders tell stories of gods sailing through the sky, brave kings defending Egypt, and clever heroes solving riddles set by powerful spirits. Crickets chirped, stars glittered overhead, and the soft rustle of palm leaves added music to the stories. These moments filled children's minds with dreams and wonder. As children approached adulthood, their roles began to shift. Boys focused more on their future crafts, learning to plow fields, build boats, or manage trade goods. Girls perfected essential skills like weaving, food preparation, and organizing households. Families celebrated important milestones with feasts and blessings, proud of the young people growing into their responsibilities. But even as they prepared for adulthood, the spirit of childhood remained within them, shaped by the river, nourished by traditions, and strengthened by the community around them. The memories of games, festivals, songs, and friendships stayed close to their hearts, guiding them as they stepped into the world of grown-ups. Through all these experiences, ancient Egyptian children became part of a long, unbroken chain of life that stretched back countless generations. Their laughter brightened villages, their learning preserved knowledge, and their dreams carried Egypt forward into the future. And just like the timeless Nile, each new generation continued to shape the land and be shaped by it in return. Even today, when people walk through the ruins of temples or discover toys buried for thousands of years, they feel a connection to the children who once lived there. Those young voices from long ago still echo through history, reminding us that childhood filled with curiosity, joy, and imagination is a story shared by every human civilization. So, when you picture ancient Egypt, don't just imagine pharaohs, pyramids, and mighty temples. Imagine the children who played in courtyards, learned under the warm sun, and dreamed beside the Nile. Their small hands, bright ideas, and endless energy helped shape one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever known. And through their stories, the spirit of ancient Egypt lives on alive, vibrant, and full of hope.